Waka yuka YouTube. Welcome to my first YouTube tutorial. We're going to be doing a 2 needle flat stitch bead embroidery. I adhered my center down to a felt with some E6000. Here's a little hack for tying the ends of your thread. So you're going to have to do that to both ends of your thread. We're going to start off with 1 needle for now to go ahead and tack this down as well. E6000 is awesome for beadwork because it comes to like this gummy almost like finish. It's not crunchy and your needle can actually be pushed through. Okay, so after we tack our center down a few times, we are going to put our needle back up through the felt right next to our center, and then we're going to add our beads. And then we are going to hold that with whatever hand that we're not going to be like tacking with. So for me, I hold it in my left hand right over there, or I set it off to the left, and then I take my new needle and I will start using the second needle to tack everything down. So one needle comes up, holds the beads, the other needle will tack those beads down. So I'm going to come up on one side of the string closest to the cabochon, and then I'm going to go over the string that has the beads and tack it down on the other side, or kind of like hide it in there. Pull it tight to where it disappears, and then continue on by going over one bead. These are size 8 beads, so because they're larger beads, you want to tack down every bead. For smaller beads, you can probably tack down every 2, which is what we'll do for the size 11. So we've beaded all the way around, and we are going to pick back up the string that has the beads on it, and then we are going to go back through the very first bead that we tacked down. We're going to go back through that, and then we're going to tack down and just go right back in between the felt, like into the felt. So you'll see exactly what I mean. Can't explain that very well. So through the bead, and then I'm going to take the needle and push it right through. So it ends back up on the bottom side of the felt. We're going to tie it off, and then I will take one string, because the next row I'm going to show you how to put on rhinestones. We'll take, oh, here I am tacking the rest of it off and then tying, and then I take, one string, and then I kind of push it through a little bit to give it kind of a tail before I snip it off. Here's some more of the tacking. And then, like I said, here, tie it off. And then we're only going to take off one of the strings this time, because the next row is the rhinestones. But here is how I do this. I kind of sew it through a little bit of the felt, pull that through, and then snip there. So it has a bit of a tail that is hidden under the felt so that it doesn't come undone. Basically, you always want to leave a little bit of a tail, as if you cut it too close to your knot, it will eventually just fall out. So there, you kind of just measure out how many rhinestones, or how long you want the rhinestones to be. And then I'm going to take the one string and tack between each rhinestone in the same exact way that I was tacking between each bead that I had on my first string. I just act like it's the first string, but it is a strip of rhinestones. And then I'm going to do that all the way around. I think everybody kind of like catches those little rhinestones that you start and end with a little bit differently. I think some people glue them. I myself try to catch the strings on the little prongs of like the rhinestone. So see what I'm doing right here. I think I had to tack down one more, and then I'm getting right to where the split is between the two, the beginning and the end of the strip. And I'm going to try to catch my string on the little prongs of the rhinestone on each edge to hold it down. And it works really well for me. And then I don't have like gunky glue that gets everywhere. It's a little bit harder to control when it's, glue on areas that small. So same thing that we did with the first row of beads. I have my 2 needles. With the first one, I come up through the bottom with a knotted needle, come up through the bottom, add my beads, take the second needle and string, tie a knot, and she's going to be the one that I use to tack that string of beads down. So come up through the first bead. These are the size 11s, so I usually tack down just from like between the first bead, and then after that every 2 beads, so every other bead. And here, since this is going to be the very outside where we trim off the felt, I'm going to make sure that I put the needle as close to the string and underneath the beads as possible, so when I do tack it, that I, like when I go to cut the felt, I'm not cutting any of the string that I use to tack down my beads, because then stuff will fall apart. So here we are. We have tacked all the way around. I go through the very first 2 beads this time. Pull tight, tack it between those beads, after the 2 beads that I did. Tie it off, and then get ready to cut the felt. Right here, I do the same thing, like I said, kind of like sew it through a little bit, both of the strings, and then I will trim it off. And here we go. What I like to do is I twist while I snip at the same time, and try not to cut any strings. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe for more.